Everyone, welcome to session 2 of Mad Keen for Lean, our 2025 Lean in Higher Education International Conference. Thank you to everyone who's rejoined after having a spot of lunch. For those of you who are joining with the first one, welcome. We have had a great first session. We've had a great keynote from Professor Rufus Black, the Vice-Chancellor of University of Tasmania, an amazing session on MISI from Bikram, and a really productive and thought-provoking lean coffee. All of these sessions have been recorded and will be published shortly on our YouTube channel. I'm literally multitasking at the moment and editing some stuff as we go. Yay. But I'd like to move us to the first presentation in session 2. We're delighted to welcome the team from Australian Catholic University for their session, which is from improvement ideas to initiative without the chaos. So joining us for this session, highly anticipated, some little spoilers were dropped in during Lean Coffee. So we're joined by Christina Pham, Denise Lam, and Jason Israel. So Christina has spent the last decade at ACU as a service improvement business partner and business analyst. She has a strong focus on advancing operational effectiveness and continuous improvement, utilising lean methodologies and data-driven insights to optimise processes and deliver enduring solutions. Christina is passionate about building effective communities of practice, recognising their vital role in promoting collaboration, knowledge sharing, and professional growth across teams and disciplines. She's joined by Denise Lam, a service improvement business partner with over 25 years' experience in the tertiary education sector. Known for a collaborative approach and effective stakeholder engagement, Denise has successfully delivered major projects at institutions including ACU, Deakin, Victoria University, RMIT, University of Queensland, and Griffith University. Denise is passionate about continuous learning and innovation and committed to advancing the transformative power of education through impactful service improvement initiatives. And we're not improving processes. Denise is probably trying to convince her coffee mug to join the next brainstorming session, something we would love to see. I can see some branded coffee mugs coming out of this, so there's something we can commercialize here, I'm sure. Joining Christina and Denise is Jason Israel, Service Improvement Business Partner with extensive experience in driving operational excellence and enhancing service delivery. Known for his strategic approach, he collaborates across teams to identify improvement opportunities, streamline processes, and implement solutions that deliver measurable outcomes. A certified project manager, Jason has a strong background in stakeholder engagement, change management, and data-driven decision-making, enabling him to foster continuous improvement and innovation. Welcome to the three of you, and we'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I just did a double check. I can't share my screen. Have I joined the wrong meeting? Am I supposed to be in a different invite to share my screen?
Oh, you're in the right one. We will just sort that out for you.
Amazing.
I'll just make you a presenter. There we go. You should be right to go now, Christina. Give it a shot.
Thank you. Okay, yeah. I will kick it off. And you can all see the screen okay? Yeah, perfect. All right, well, I'll hand it over to my colleague Denise. She's going to take us through the first portion.
Great. Thanks for that, Christina. If you can just go to the next slide, please. Oh, I can do that myself. Okay, so thank you for to everyone for joining our presentation from improvement ideas to initiative without the chaos. What we hope to explore today is ACU's journey to improving our centralised process for service improvement initiatives from initiative request through to reporting. We'll also show you how we plan to use the ClickUp solution to streamline our workflows, increase transparency, and make the process accessible to everybody. And we're also going to ask for your engagement by inviting you to share how your institute collects, assess, and manages service improvement initiatives, so we can learn from everybody else, borrowing from the theme we heard today about working better together. So that's the agenda for today. A bit about ACU. So we are a national university located across 3 states and 1 territory, which makes service improvement initiatives both exciting and challenging. As you know, with the diversity of faculties and schools and layering that with multiple campus locations, it adds quite a bit of complexities when we're trying to streamline and standardize processes, because we need to make sure that we're adaptive enough to honor the distinctive needs and cultures and rhythms of each faculty and campus. So that's just a bit about us, about the service improvement team. So as you can see, we're a lean team of 3 based in Melbourne. We like to say we don't have few staff, we just have more purpose per person. Our work has potential to shape over 2,500 staff, how we operate to deliver a streamlined and seamless experience for over 30,000 students at the university. So what's our journey so far? So ACU's approach to service improvement is grounded in our mission, which is to pursue the common good and act responsibly. We put this into practice by actively inviting staff to submit improvement ideas using ServiceNow or direct engagement. Now, this open approach has led to a flood of submissions. Sorry, is the volume okay? Okay, great. But often it would get quantity outweigh quality. As staff could submit any ideas without any approvals or filters. We had high volumes of requests, creating process bottleneck and resource strain for the service improvement team. What we found is many requests lacked context, ownership, or awareness of existing work. So that led to duplication, and a lot of our time was spent educating the requesters to say, actually, this process does actually exist. Do you know about it? Or this policy is actually already in trained. A really good example we had was somebody submitted an idea if we could install EV charging stations in the car park closer to where they park, as opposed to the other car park, which is a bit too far from them. So without a standardized assessment framework, which is clearly advertised and a way of prioritizing the ideas, what happened was that often it was a senior voice that got up the top priority, and everybody else was fairly low down the food chain. So what we're proposing to do to get out of the chaos is we've learned that while broad participation is vital, balancing openness with thoughtful vetting is a key to meaningful and sustainable improvement. With our to-be process, we want to empower local ownership and secure executive sponsorship from the start by requiring discussion and endorsement before they submit their requests. We want to implement a transparent, standardized process for assessment. And we want to make sure that we share this guideline, and we want to have a single source of truth for all initiatives. And we're going to be leveraging a solution called ClickUp to automate workflows, provide real-time dashboard, and enable status tracking to allow visibility for all staff. With that in mind, what we're hoping these interventions will do is will shift our improvement ecosystem from a reactive and ill-defined process to something more proactive, transparent, and data-driven, where every idea is evaluated equitably and strategically. So that's just a bit of a history of what's happened. Now I'll hand it over to Christina, who will outline our future approach. Thank you.
Okay, so a bit about how we got into where we are today. So ACU has gone through a recent change plan, in 2023, which identified the need to have a director of strategy and operations across different key portfolios. So through the leverage of linking through these directors of strategy and operations, we have 5 in total sitting over different portfolios, including the faculties. We're going to leverage on their influence and create a first stage support. So what we're requesting is requesters to approach their directors of strategy and ops to get the early endorsement from the very beginning. Once they get those early support through the directors of strategy and operations, they then can submit a request for service improvement. It's from that point that we're creating a secondary stage approach of understanding the strategic and impact needs. So that's a weighted score mechanism that we're hoping to implement by asking specific questions to help kind of highlight the breadth and depth of that impact or that process improvement. It's through that online form, and you can click on that pink link, and that should take you to an example form that we're developing. But the idea is to kind of get the requesters to start thinking about, well, what is the problem and what is the goal, and really around how far breadth of does this process improvement reach in terms of staff, students, partners, etc. It is from that point when we collect those responses that our team will start to evaluate that with a weighted score. And through that, we'll evaluate the risks to the organisation, as well as the impact. From there, the goal would be for us to then take our weighted scoring and assessing that against what's existing in the pipeline, to what we are currently working on. Back to the directors of strategy and operations, they have like a monthly meeting that we could have this discussion where we can say, this is our assessment, this is what we think, do you agree? And so the whole idea is to have a kind of forum where the directors and strategy and operations to support these initiatives that we're going to be working on before we get to the deep dive of jumping into a service improvement initiative. So we know that there's a lot of investment to just getting into the data analysis, to getting into the current state assessment, to co-create. And before we want to do that, we want to make sure that we're moving in the right direction before we even do that. So the whole idea around that is early identification. So through that, once we have an agreed approach to which priorities we will be working on, we'll then communicate that back to the requester. So what's the objective? It's a rapid method of evaluating the potential benefits. On this screen here is just a quick example of what we would put a weight. We are just kind of creating this on the flow, without really any guidance and seeing how. So I'm also interested to see how, if you do have a weighted scoring system, what's your scoring? For me, I've just kind of applied a 1 to 5 kind of scoring system based on a series of questions, depending on how often it impacts the staff's role, how regularly, how many students, how many staff. They're the kind of things that we're kind of considering and just throwing a number at it. So that's the kind of what we're planning to approach. But I think it's a really good opportunity for us to, before we jump into implementing, learning from the brains trust. So what I suggest we do, actually I might just pause because I didn't actually walk through the actual form. So maybe perhaps I can just do a 1 minute showcase of what that form looks like. Just quickly, so the survey form is a set number of questions that we would ask. A lot of it will be, select from the lists, and certainly where things are related to how many people are impacted, depending on what is selected, then, would give a higher score to the one that's less. Other things that we're trying to consider is the risk or impact to the organisation. Feel free to also pop any questions in the chat. But what I might do is I'll jump back to the slide that I was presenting. And I'll get everyone to click on that Miro link so that we can jump into the Miro board. So yeah, thanks, Jason. But you can click on the pink link as well. That should take you to the Miro board as well. And I'll just give everyone a quick 30 seconds to join. And then what I might just give this a go. I know that there's a presenter mode, so I'm going to flip it to presenter mode. It should, if you can accept to join the view. So before we jump into a brainstorming session, what I thought I'd like to ask is a quick poll. Do you have your own triage or prioritization within your organization? Interested to know how many of us do or don't. So yeah, if you can just jump in there. Is it working for everyone? Perfect. Thank you. This is the first time I've done a poll, so I don't know how we see the results. Vikram, maybe I can lean in your knowledge of it. I can see there have been 12 votes submitted, but it'll be good to see.
Once
On
people
our end,
vote,
it's showing. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
once,
you're in.
them.
Okay.
once they submit their vote, it shows the polls.
Okay, that's good.
You have to opt in to see the results, I think.
I can see there's 16 votes in, so I might just stop presenting because I think that present. Maybe I can't vote. I'm not too sure why. So I can't see the results, but feel free to, Jason, do you want to jump in and give us a bit of an update on the results so far?
So we've got 29 people on the board. 19 have voted. 14 have voted yes, which is great to see. Great number. For mostly do have a process. 4 have said no, and 1 is has been thinking about it.
Fantastic.
So overwhelmingly yes.
Well, then we've got lots to tap into the Brains Trust. I'm excited about the next component of the session. So what I may do is let's move over to the next frame, which is what factors would you consider when prioritizing a potential process improvement? So everyone should be able to click on a particular sticky note and then throw in your ideas on what things you would consider when you're prioritizing. And we'll give everyone perhaps
Similar to the lean coffee, if we can put 1 item per person. It might be an idea, Christina, to share screen. There's a request in the chat.
Oh yeah, sure. I might just set a timer of a 2-minute timer just so that we don't go over.
We've got our music back.
I've gone for a flow or something flow.
Christina, it's the perfect post-lunch tune. Well done.
so good to see so many on the board. Oh, Chris Shannon's book, Air One from Chris Shannon's book. Okay, I must read. I must take away from there.
I can vote for the book.
Thank you. I'll add it to my book list, my late night reading. It's good to see some of the similar themes from our discussion in session 1 as well. Yeah, please do vote on anything that you think is really important with particular sticky notes there. Okay. So thank you for participating in that, because that's really going to help us make sure that our ideas have aligned to some of your suggestions, and we'll probably go, we probably need to include that. So thank you so much for participating in that. That's going to really help us kind of set the structure of our ways of working for the future. I might jump into the next proposed questions that we have for the group, which is, what method or process do you or would you use to assess potential process improvement? So what's your methodology when you assess process improvement? You know, it could be an Excel spreadsheet with the weighted score embedded into that, or, you know, do you also, similar to Mel, have a forum discussion about these priorities to help kind of, you know, decide on what ones will go ahead? Any of those kind of things would be amazing. Starting with conversation and asking probing questions, exactly the way we've been working in the past. So yeah, I forgot to turn on the music. I'll turn it on now. Okay, we're down to the last 10 seconds. What we will do as we finish up our last bit is would love to open up a discussion with the group now. So similar to what we've done in the lead coffee, I'd like to go for a vote on some of the sticky notes that we have on the board. And if there's anyone in particular from the group that you would love to hear more about, and I think there might be already a winner in there, but I think if we could open up the votes and I'll give everyone let's give everyone 2 sticky notes to vote on 2 ideas that's on there. Don't know why that's jumped. Let me just move that across. Let's have a vote on the sticky notes that are there. And then I would love to open it up to the person who popped that sticky note up, if we could hear about that particular method, and yeah, unpack that a little bit more with the person who raised it. Now, we're all good to, has a vote open? Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. I might just stop sharing my screen because I don't think I can see the votes after I do that. 13, 2 votes. About 30 seconds left on the vote. Okay. So I think we have just 2 clearer, so we have Asana, an Asana form. So I might ask who popped that one on the board, and would love to hear from you as to how you set that up.
Christina, that was me.
Oh,
So
of
this
course.
this is the one I was talking about that we spent so much time and effort into, but actually didn't get operationalized, unfortunately. But so I'm very happy to share a little bit about it. If you'd like, I can give you a quick look at it, but Mel, I think I'll need some sharing rights for that one, if that's something that you can muster. But very similar to what you've done, Christina, in terms of creating a form to get that triage really up and running, and then to create a Kanban board to have it on there. So let me just. So this is the board itself that we have. So when the initiatives come in, they come in under the new initiative, and we've got a whole lot of workflows that are running, or rules that are running behind the section. And then we have ones for that are self-driven initiatives, obviously a backlog, and then those that are converted or either abandoned as well, just to have that nice overall look on what your initiative or where your initiatives are up to. And then in terms of the very similar to your intake,
request or triage request. Tell us about what you want to do. Tell us where you're from. Give your title, give your improvement a name, because that's what it'll be known as in the board that we have. Tell us about it. Tell us what triggered the initiative. And of course, you can tick as many as you want there. And what long-term value does this initiative add to the university? Is the initiative time sensitive? And when do you hope to have it completed by? What are the immediate risks if it is delayed along the timeline? And the highest level of support or endorsement you've obtained for the initiative. Is it independent of any other projects? Because I'm not sure, at least at our institution, everything feels so commingled. So it's good to understand the big picture there. And what statement describes your understanding of the existing documentation? Like, how much information have you got at the moment that we can draw on to start your initiative? Does it require the use of a tech system, app, program, or something that you currently use? Because that might take us down a different route in terms of heading across to our Division of Information Technology. And what level of support are you looking to receive? Are you looking for, just a bit of help? You're looking for us to run it, or medium support, and then obviously pop in your email as well. So yeah, very similar to your intake form would come in, and you can see that we've got those ratings behind the system which create this heat map. So the more red and orange it is, the higher it has been ranked. And you can see all of these converted ones are mostly higher level with ELT leadership. So yeah.
And how does the ranking score work?
That's a really good question, and I've been out of it for a little while, so I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure from memory it is a numerical one, similar to what you've done in terms of, but I will have a dig, Christina, and I'll send that to you when I send you a copy of the form as well. So I just can't remember right now.
No, I did put you on the spot there, so thank you for that.
No stress.
Curious to see if anyone has any other questions for Kate. Otherwise, we might move on to the next topic. No? Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Kate. I would love to hear, so the next highest vote, I think, on the board we had was cost benefit analysis. So again, another interesting one, opening up to the forum for anyone who popped that one up. That was you, Jason?
No, but I'm just mindful of time. We have about 11 minutes to go.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, it was me who put that on. My name is Shireen from University of Melbourne. I'll be very quick, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys have need more details. So basically, summing it up in 4 simple steps, it's really comparing what you're doing in terms of the cost benefit versus what actual, so the cost of what you're doing versus the actual cost of the benefit that you're going to achieve, and comparing these two. So defining the problem and improvement idea, what the current issue is, outlining the proposed improvement, and then identify and estimate cost, both direct costs and indirect costs, and then summing it up, and then identify and estimate benefits. Obviously, it will be approximation, but it can be done, again, both quantitatively and qualitatively, and then compare and evaluate both of those, basically. And that will give you a very good direction, because a lot of times a lot of people are asking for many different types of improvement. Everyone is eager, but does it really outweigh the effort and resourcing and everything else, the time that we are putting in?
Amazing. Do you find that like a really, in terms of time and effort to do the early cost benefit analysis, like how much time and energy are you putting into that measurement at the beginning of jumping into an initiative?
Yeah, in the previous role, it all depends on the extent of the project, but in the previous roles that I have done that personally myself, I think it's definitely worth it, because sometimes you might spend a month for a project that might be a year or a year and a half or 2 years. So it's definitely worth it, because once you go and finish that project and spending a year or a year and a half or 2 years, then you might actually regret not doing that and spending that time and effort in the first place.
Thank you so much. That's a really good insight. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. So what we will do is we'll kick off the next component of our session, which Jason will take the lead through now. I'll just jump back through our slide pack. And similar to Kate, we are considering tools and systems as well to support the work that we're doing. So over to you, Jason.
Thank you, Christina, and thank you, Kate and others, for sharing your feedback on participating. So we've reviewed what our situation and our problems were. Then Christina shared the process, and we've looked at how we receive that information and prioritize it. And the next piece of the puzzle was around the system. So how do we work with the information that we're receiving? How do we track the various initiatives that are happening, and also how do we report on those as well? So we decided to use a product like called ClickUp, which is very similar to what Kate shared with Asana, very comparable and similar product to Asana and Monday and that type of thing. And what we wanted to achieve with using ClickUp was centralized tracking. So we wanted to make sure that there was one source of truth for all the process initiatives, not various team sites or Excel files or email chains and other things like that. We wanted to ensure there was transparency, and I noticed on the board that the theme of transparency came up as an important item, so that was great to see that feedback. We also wanted real-time updates, and something that we enjoyed is that when we use a system like ClickUp, the reporting and the updates are organic. It's not another manual process of having to go back and type out updates or do different things. As you're tracking and working through the initiative, the reporting is happening organically and live. And it also allowed us to have a structured workflow of logging the improvements, prioritizing and monitoring it, very similar to what Kate shared with us just recently. Importantly, I'm not sure if this came up, but we wanted data-driven decisions. And I know there's been a few different items that were mentioned about how we prioritize, but we wanted to make sure that we capture the metrics and the outcomes. And we wanted to improve our collaboration between different departments, different teams, different parts of the university. Also, the system provides for us an audit trail, so it gives us an activity log. So when was the item created? When was it last updated? Who was the person who was working on it? And everything is all in one place instead of trying to sort of do some detective work and piece everything together. And then finally, automated dashboards reporting, which just reduced our effort when we came to reporting back to key stakeholders about what work we're undertaking and how it's progressing. Next slide. So this is just a screenshot of ClickUp and an example of our initiatives list. And you can see there's the name of the initiative, the assignee, the make, what stage of the make it is, which part of ACU, which portfolios it relates to, and also similar to what Kate shared, what our level of involvement was. So we came up with different categories of involvement, and there were some that we were just observing, and that was part of creating that central source of truth where we're aware of an initiative, but we're not actively involved in it, but we're just knowing about it. So we put it on there as an observing status. And next screen. And this is an example of our dashboard, which we...
Sorry, Jason, I think people are having trouble seeing the screen. So I might just stop sharing and then restart sharing again, if that's okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So they're saying if you can share screen, not the slides.
Let me know if that works again, or if that doesn't work.
I think it's still in slide mode, Christina.
Can people see the slide? Is it visible? Yes.
It is.
Getting some nods. All right, thank you. So this is an example of our reporting dashboard. There's other elements to our dashboard, but I just kept it simple for the presentation here today, and it allows in a very simple way to know what the total number is, where it relates to, which portfolio, what our involvement is, and what status it is. So it's allows us to see all the high level key information in a very simple and organic fashion. Moving on to next slide, just mindful of time, we created some questions, and we can consider these questions as takeaway questions, and they're really around the system component of what we're discussing here today. And we won't have time to go through them, but I just wanted to share them with you as takeaway items that you can ponder on and discuss with your teams and see what's relevant and how it could fit into what you do. So the first one, do you use a system like ClickUp? And we know Kate does with Asana. How do you track it from start to completion? What methods do you do to report on progress and outcomes? Is it Word document, email, etc.? What fields or metrics are important for your reporting? And what would make tracking and reporting easier or more valuable for your team? Because I know a lot of the times we do great work and great initiatives, but the reporting side might be missed or could be very onerous and feels like a lot of effort. So we're trying to reduce that part of the workload for us. So on that note, I'll pass it on to Denise, who will wrap us up and bring us to the end of our session.
Great. Thanks for that, Jason. So just in summary, how we hope to get from our journey from chaos to clarity is ensuring executive sponsorship from the start, because this really sets the tone for alignment and momentum. Effective evaluation process that is clearly communicated from day dot so people know what they're being evaluated against. Visibility and accountability using a solution like ClickUp will really help us provide a single source of truth and strategic alignment. So thank you so much for joining us and sharing your valuable insights. This is really appreciated, especially since we're currently still in the process of designing, right? We haven't implemented yet. And just a parting thought, chaos is just order waiting to be deciphered until maybe after you've had a coffee / gin and tonic / whatever beverage of choice. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Denise, Christina, and Jason. And we made it to 3 p.m. before any mention of a gin and tonic, so I think we're doing pretty well. Our next session is actually a recorded one. So if you wanted to go back to some of those questions that Jason had on his slide around what tools are people using that might be like ClickUp, we're really happy to have a couple of minutes conversation there if there's things that people would like to share. Okay, so we've heard Kate's using Asana. So at University of Canberra, we are moving to Asana. We use a mix of Teams planners, Asana, DevOps, depending on the type of piece that we're using. But what are others using? Vikram, I'm going to pick on you. What do you guys use?
Oh, we used to use so we had Monday.com for some parts of the organization, etc. But I think we're in the process of coalescing back to Microsoft just because of the tenancy, and therefore that's something everyone has access to. So the forms are maybe a little bit clunkier, but on the flip side, perhaps there's more control. I don't know. I haven't used Asana. But what we used, so I'm quite curious, Christina, about how the backend works for the form you've designed, because what we have used in the past has been very similar. So it'd be cool to see how this plays out.
Definitely an update for the next Lean Coffee or a future iteration of Lean Coffee for sure.
Do others want to share? We've got quite a few people from University of Melbourne. What tools are you using to track implementation and reporting?
Hello, Stephanie from University of Melbourne.
Hi.
And sorry, we were some of the ones that were having trouble with our screen. We're all sitting in a room together, and so we're on our computers as well. But so sorry for the interruption if that's what happened. We use Smartsheet at a PMO level. So our project management office uses Smartsheet. We also have something at the enterprise level with our IT projects called Enterprise Performance Management System, EPMS, which is what's that steeped in? I think it's Power BI based, but we haven't got a consistent approach, and we have different requirements for different projects depending on who is working on what with what area. So definitely room for improvement.
Excellent. Do we have any other institutions who'd like to share? We've got quite a gamut here. It's probably people also doing in Excel, or like many of the things we do, post-it notes on the board. Sometimes it's really nice to go back to that really tactile way of managing things around visibility, particularly the simple things. It's how I manage my life. Post-it notes on my laptop. Don't laugh, Christina. It's how things get done. Any other final thoughts for Christina, or questions for Christina, Jason, or Denise that you'd like to ask, or comments that you have?
Just looking forward to how it's going to go. Looking forward to updates.
Yeah, keep us in the loop.
We need those
Thank you.
updates. Okay.
We will do.
Thank you so much, team from ACU, for sharing with us. And thank you. What I've loved is that you have just involved us in the design process. And so often when we come to a conference or at an event, you're hearing about what someone's already done, whereas we've just been involved in actually helping to shape and influence the tools and the methodologies and the practice that ACU is going to adopt. So I think that's it's such a nice, innovative way of crowdsourcing, tapping into people who've got different expertise in different areas to pull all of that together. So thank you so much for trusting us to play a role. And we do look forward to hearing what comes of all of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.